we're back. The NFL pod, views from section 400. Little Thanksgiving special, Thanksgiving weekend for the NFL slate this week. I'm the host, Matt. My other two hosts, Jack and Brian, joining me today as well. And we'll kind of jump right into this one. The biggest takeaways from the Thanksgiving Day games, we had 3 games roll on Thanksgiving, and jump over to you, Brian. What was your biggest takeaways from Turkey Day?
Yeah, the Cowboys are good against bad teams. The 49ers are back, and the Detroit Lions are frauds. Those were the 3 things I really took away. I know last week I said the Lions had a chance for that 1 seed in the NFC. I don't feel that way anymore. Niners maybe, but they're a little behind the birds. So that's kind of what I took away from last night.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Jack, what did you observe yesterday during the festivities?
Man, no, Brian said it clear as day. Exactly what I was thinking. If anything to add to it, Dak Prescott, legitimate candidate for MVP. See how the end of the season shakes out. But I mean, after the 4 touchdown day yesterday, he just keeps on rolling it in with the stats, and it's possible. We'll see.
Yeah, we got to see what it looks like for him when some tougher competition pops up, because I don't think I'm that sold on Dak being an MVP candidate, but if we'll see what he does against better competition. But yeah, kind of want to jump right into the first game here. Kind of a horrible game. Bucks taking on the Colts. No one's really going to give a shit. Baker Mayfield's done in Tampa Bay, and the Colts need to figure out getting Anthony Richardson healthy and just moving in a better direction there. But I feel like I'd lean Colts here. I'm going to take Michael Pittman's over receptions and just leave it right there. I think that's a pretty safe play. He's been hitting crazy numbers. He's 10+ targets a week. I think his over-under for receptions might be 6.5, maybe even 5.5. I think he cruises over that. Again, the Colts are going to have to pass the ball. So that's what I'll take there. Probably not going to be too tuned into this one, but Jack, what do you got as you're looking at this one?
Yeah, you know what? I like exactly where your head's at with this, but I'm actually going to go Josh Downs over on the receiving yards. He's got a line set at 47.5 receiving yards. I'm taking the over on that. He seems to be connecting with Minshew on some deep balls, and I think it really will only take 1 or 2 of those deep passes to hit this number.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's some good stuff. What do you got, Bri?
I like where you guys' heads are at with the Colts passing. The Bucks have a really good run defense. I believe they're leading the NFL, second in the NFL in rush yards allowed per game, which, the issue there is Levante David's not going to play in this game, and Devin White is questionable. So that might open up the run game a little bit. I like Gardner Minshew's passing yards, 244.5. I know the Bucks kind of killed me when I took Will Levis's passing yards, called that my nuke whale of the year, and I don't think he surpassed 225. I will say you called this a bad game. This is kind of a game of 2 teams that are hanging on by a thread in their divisions, and the winner's got a chance here, especially because the Bucks, 4-6, the Saints. We'll get to the Saints game later, but they're playing the Falcons, so they have a chance to jump one of those teams. And then the Colts at 5-5. We'll get to Jags game later with the Jags taking on the Texans. But if the Texans can beat the Jags there and the Colts can win this game, that division's up for grabs too. So I'm very interested to see what happens in this game. One little small thing, I'm playing Rachaad White in fantasy this week in need of a win, and I'm kind of scared about that. He scored 4 times in his last 3 games. So it might be worth a little sprinkle for him to get in the end zone in this one. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have on this game.
Yeah, dude, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess you're right. It is teams hanging on by a thread, but both have 0 shot. So I'm not convinced. Let's roll on here. I think that's way too much time on that game. Patriots taking on the Giants. Probably don't need to spend a lot of time here, but I'll just kind of leave it off to you, Brian. Your Giants are 3-8, and what do you got?
Yeah, Tommy DeVito looked like a competent quarterback last week. It was against the incompetent Washington Commanders, but DeVito looked good. He proved us all wrong. We all took his under, and he skied over that.
Yeah, he did.
But I'm excited for this game. A decade ago, this would probably be the game of the week. Yeah, besides
that,
have
some angle that this is a great game too.
No, Brian nailed it. I mean, 10 years ago, this was Brady against Manning.
Oh yeah.
Now we're getting Mac Jones against Danny DeVito. I mean, we don't really need to cover this game, do we? No one's watching it. Neither of
I,
these guys are playoff teams. Let's move on.
I mean, I'm gonna take the Giants on the money line. They're 7-6 against the Patriots, or 6-7 against the Patriots all time. So let's move to 7-7 and tie up that series.
yeah, Jack, hit us with a pick and let's roll.
All right, I'll hit you with a pick. Let me get Saquon over 20.5 receiving yards.
I like that. I will what the over under is 33.5.
It's Mac
That's
Jones versus Tommy DeVito.
that's still disgusting. I'm gonna go with dude, I kind of want to go with Zeke over 30.5 rushing yards. I feel like that's been a hot play. The Giants' run defense, I don't think is particularly that great, especially trading Leonard Williams away.
No,
So, what's that, Brian?
nothing about their team is particularly great.
I know, but I'm just saying. I think Zeke could have another nice day there. So I'll take his over rushing yards. It's been hot in the past, so let's see if that stays hot. Uh, moving on to the wackiest, craziest, possibly best division in football. The Steelers taking on the Bengals. Bengals without Joe Burrow, obviously, for the rest of the year. Um, Looking like a rainy 44-degree day. Probably going to be a shit show up there for the playing conditions. Obviously, we don't know what we have in Jake Browning, and the Steelers are what the Steelers are. They'll keep games close, give themselves a chance, but it's just so tough to trust that offense. I'll jump over to you here, Jack. What are you seeing here in this divisional matchup?
I'm seeing a close game. I mean, Vegas has it as a 1 point swing. Either way, it's basically a pick 'em. You would think the Bengals without Joe Burrow starting Jake Browning, you would think that Kenny Pickett can get the best of them. But I'm going with the home team here. It's a divisional game. It's going to be a gritty game. Both teams are going to lean on the run and the defense. So, uh, might like the under here, but I'm definitely going to go with the Bengals in the home at home here.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we just talked about that matchup between Mac Jones and Tommy DeVito. Now we get Kenny Pickett and Jake Browning. Tommy DeVito actually more touchdowns this season than Kenny Pickett, believe it or not. I'm going to take the Bengals at home, one, because they're the home team, and two, because Jake Browning graduated from our Washington Huskies. So I'm going to keep those vibes rolling.
Woo woo.
Indeed, he did, dude. Indeed, he did. Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough for me all year betting against the Steelers, but I just think on the road in the rainy conditions, I'll take the Bengals on the money line. Another play to look at. I know the 35.5 is a low number, but in those bad conditions and two totally unquestionable, you don't know what's going to happen with the quarterbacks. I think that could be a sprinkle. I don't particularly want to hand it out as one of the picks. I do like Bengals on the money line though. That'll be my official lock. But if you're trying to build a big parlay for Sunday, maybe you throw the under in there because it'll be tough to score with two not great offenses with the quarterback situations and some bad weather. So let's look out for that game. Hopefully we get something good there for the divisional matchup. But here's one I think we can all agree on is just a gross, disgusting game. Panthers taking on the Titans. I mean, do we need to spend much time on this? I'm just going to take Titans money line and hope that it hits and probably not watch this. Jack, I'll jump to you. I mean, dude, 5 seconds or less. We don't need to talk about this. What do you got?
No, I mean, I just want to touch on the fact I saw Vrabel's job is not in question. That's good. He's a good coach. They definitely should have started the rebuild this year and not hung on to Derrick Henry and tried to scrap together whatever they could. I know Vrabel's a scrappy guy, but no, I'm moving on. They need to move on, and I'll take them at home.
Yeah, we have a buddy from Auburn, Steve, that's a Panthers fan. I feel super bad for him. That season's been rough. Bryce Young is not that guy. Will Levis might not be that guy either. So another matchup between two horrendous quarterbacks. I'm going to take the under 36.5.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't hate that play at all, dude. I think we have really been throwing out a lot of unders. I feel like the last couple of weeks, so I'm hoping that's a hot under right there. I don't hate that at all. Yeah, man. But rolling on, Jags Texans. I mean, this is one of the most anticipated matchups of the week because it's a battle for first place here. The thing the Jags I think have going for them well is they kind of glued together last week, got the offense figured out a little bit to some extent, and the defense really showed up, I think, more. But it's tough to beat a team twice, and I think the Texans already did beat them. So it's kind of all in favor of the Jags. So I'm gonna go hand out a couple crazy picks here. Not crazy, but I'll give you a bunch. I'm gonna go C.J. Stroud over on the passing yards. I'm gonna go Trevor Lawrence over on the passing yards. I'm going to take the game's total over 47.5. But those three player props and the total of the game 47.5. That's what I'll hand out. I'm staying away from the money line. Jack, I'll jump over to you because it's your team, bro. What do you got?
Oh, and I love it. I love it. I love it. You took the words right out of my mouth, man. The over is going to hit. Jags money line is going to hit. I think we're going to find some success on the ground with ETN, so I'm not completely sold with Trevor Lawrence's passing over. I do think Stroud and Texans are going to have to air it out, so I like that play as well. So Stroud over on the passing yards, over on the game, Jags money line, and we're going to get some anytime touchdown value in there too. Probably ETN, maybe a Ridley. Pick your poison, but that's a nice little parlay to get you juiced up on Sunday.
Yeah, and you can probably take over C.J. Stroud passing TDs as well. Might be set at like 1.5 for like -140 or -130.
Sure.
I think that's it as well. But Bry, I don't want to leave you out here, man. What do you got? We just handed out a lot of juice on picks, dude. So come at us with something hot here.
Yeah, that was a lot of juice. I will say, you said this was the most anticipated matchup of the week. This may be the most anticipated matchup of the young history of Views from Section 400 here. I know we've been big on the Texans. Jack, of course, got his Jags. Right. This is going to be a fun one. 47.5 in the Dome in Houston. Thank God it's in the Dome and not in the horrible weather of Jacksonville, Florida. But I think I like Dalton Schultz over 43.5 receiving yards here. He's been good. He's been getting his touch. He scored a lot of touchdowns. I like the yards, though. And then we're going to go with the Travis Etienne anytime touchdown. He's getting in this game. I know Trevor Lawrence, he 2 rushing touchdowns last week. He had like 40 fantasy points. And it seems with him, whenever he does something like that, he's going to put up like an 8 fantasy point game here. Not saying he's not going to play well, but I just don't think he's going to be scoring touchdowns. And with the high over-under, the Jags are going to be scoring. So ETN's most likely to get in there. And you know what, actually? It's an Auburn weekend. War Damn Eagle, Tank Bigsby, anytime touchdown. He's getting in there.
Woo!
Wow, a little backup running back play there. That's got to be a lot of plus money.
That's definitely plus money. I can't endorse the Tank play. I'm an Auburn guy. I'm in Auburn, Alabama. I'm going to be watching the Iron Bowl there tomorrow, but I can't endorse the Tank play. He's just not getting enough touches with the Jags right now. But hey, War Eagle, Duval, love it.
Yeah, we love the uniqueness and really taking a look at what every offering they have for the game. I mean, you're really looking around there and giving out some variety. So we love that. But Saints Falcons kind of now taking the back seat to what we just talked about in that hot game. But yeah, Saints Falcons. I mean, I don't know. Brian will probably have some angle that these teams are hanging on by a thread, and they got a shot. I know the Saints are 500, but yeah, I'll jump over to you, Brian. What do you got for this one?
Yeah, so the last game, the Jags game, is a battle for first place. This is a battle for first place. You got the first and second place team in the horrible, awful NFC South. But hey, one of these teams is going to probably host a playoff game. So these guys are going to be juiced up. You got Desmond Ritter and Derek Carr going at it.
It's horrible.
Not quite C.J. Stroud and Trevor Lawrence, but hey, it's a big game. I know this is a big rivalry. These fan bases are going to be at each other's throats all week. Let's go with Desmond Ritter over 198.5 passing yards.
Interesting. What do you got, Jack?
Yeah, so I know there's a couple injuries that are sort of worth noting. Michael Thomas hit the IR. Marshawn Lattimore is questionable. But the big one for me is Young Ho Koo is questionable, the kicker for the Falcons. If they don't have him in this divisional game, which should be a tough defensive game, probably low scoring, as this AFC South seems to be with the terrible offensive play and offensive play calling. They're not going to have a shot if they don't have Koo. So if he's not playing, my pick is going to be Saints money line on the road. If he is playing, it's going to be the under.
Before you jump in here, Matt, I will say it's an actual injury. It's not a head cold kicker injury.
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask what was he potentially missing for? Harrison Butker had a cold. He had a head cold this week. ESPN, why does he need an injury designation?
I believe it's a lower body thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. But yeah, man, some good picks there. I'm gonna roll with old reliable. Give me Kamara's over receiving yards, and I'll sprinkle in his over receptions as well. You touched on it. Michael Thomas is on IR. All they got is to lean on is Chris Olave and Kamara out of the backfield. So that's the play I'm going with there. I would lean Saints money line as well. I don't trust Arthur Smith. I don't trust that offense. I definitely don't trust Desmond Ridder. So I would lean Saints money line if I had to give out something there. But
before we move on, Jack mentioned the horrible play calling of these two teams. So Deron Bland on the Cowboys had his 6th pick 6 of the year in yesterday's game. That is more touchdowns than Kyle Pitts has scored in his entire career.
Wow. And that's in one season.
That's one season. That's one half season of playing defense.
That's 11 games. 6 pick sixes. More touchdowns than Kyle Pitts through, 3 years now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Close to 30 games? Over 30 games, maybe?
Moving on after jumping on to that game, Rams, who got a huge win and destroyed my parlay last weekend, taking on the Arizona Cardinals. This is an interesting one because both defenses suck. The Rams offense is competent to some extent. They looked horrible last weekend until they got that miraculous drive against the Seahawks and made some stuff happen. But the Cardinals also have Kyler Murray back. And with his dual threat abilities flying around back there, it gives them a shot. I don't know how good of a shot, but it gives them a better shot than what they've already had. I'm just sticking to it. There's no reason to run away. Kyler Murray over rushing yards that will hit again 3 weeks in a row. I think I want to lean Cardinals money line in this game as well, just because the Rams are coming off that big road win last week or home win, excuse me, but coming off a big win nonetheless. And I just think the Cardinals with Kyler Murray back kind of late in the season, that weird Thanksgiving weekend magic. Cardinals money line gets it done, and Kyler goes over his rushing yards. I'll jump over to you, Brian. What are you seeing in this weird NFC battle?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The Rams coming off that big emotional win last week in Seattle. And then the Cardinals have looked like a decent football team with Kyler Murray in there. I know they're 2-9, but they're 2-3 at home, and Kyler Murray makes this team look decent. I'm not saying they're going to go on some kind of crazy run here, but I do think they're going to be able to win some home games, and because of that, I'm going to take them at the plus money line here.
So on this one, I'm gonna be against you guys. McVay plays this division really well. He's the king over there. I know Shanahan and the Niners have the squad to do it, but he's better as a coach, in my opinion, coming from the same tree. And Kyler Murray is 1-6 against these Rams. I don't expect that to change. He has looked pretty nice. Look, coming off the injury, he's getting back in the swing of things, but the Cardinals aren't anything special. I know the Rams are coming off the emotional win, but they're just the better team, and I think they get the job done on the road. Keep getting hot, and try to buy themselves a playoff spot.
They definitely could. I don't think you're wrong there. But yeah, I just think with Kyler coming back gives them a little bit more of a shot, and the Rams coming off that win is might be a little too much. But you're right. McVay's a great coach. I've always been a fan of him. So tough to see that they're having a down year, but like you said, he plays this division real well, so it'll be good to see. But yeah, jumping on to a way better of a matchup, and honestly, 4 weeks ago, you're kind of saying, well, the Broncos are probably down and out, but the Browns travel to Denver to take on the Denver Broncos, and I mean, this is a game that the Browns have no quarterback, but they've just been competent enough in keeping themselves in games that they continue to win games. So I will jump over to you, Jack. What are you seeing here as this one approaches from Mile High Stadium?
Yeah, these are two of the best defenses in the NFL right now. The Browns have been one of the best defenses all season long. I mean, that's how they have the record that they do. That's how they're, right behind the Ravens in that AFC North. Their defense is really that good. The Broncos, their defense has come alive in the recent weeks. They've been on a roll lately. Both of these defenses are going to carry this game. So I'm not liking anybody's overs per se. I don't like the game over. I don't know who's going to win it, but I am going to go with the under in this one, under 36 and a half.
Yeah, I mean the under makes sense. It's looking like it's going to be snowy, 33 degrees with some snowfall in this. So both these quarterbacks, their lines are under 200 passing yards. Uh, Dorian Thompson-Robinson had the big win last week. He was bawling his eyes out on the sidelines. So I like the Browns. I like the Browns' juju. Myles Garrett should win Defensive Player of the Year. He might get robbed by Bland, who we talked about earlier because of his pick sixes this year. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I like the Browns to move to 8-3 here. Denver's cooking up some good stuff. They've won 4 in a row, but at some point I don't think they're that good of a football team. They might be back a little bit, but the Browns are just the better team here. And I actually think the weather in Denver kind of cancels out any talent gap on offense. So because of that, I'm just going to take the Browns defense in this one.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Brian. I love the Browns plus 1.5. I think the worst weather actually plays in the Browns' favor and helps them out a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the Browns and probably a game that's going to go under this number. Not a lot of points I'm expecting here, especially if it's pretty weird weather with snow and stuff like that. But give me the Browns plus 1.5. You're not going to be able to get them at plus money or plus points a lot of times the rest of the way here, as they're a good team. I mean, the talent on that team is good. So I'll go Browns plus 1.5. And like I said, I just think that kind of crazy weather with the snow, cold temperature kind of plays into that Browns favor. Always plays into a defense, and they got the better defense here. So I'll go with that play. But yeah, moving on to another divisional matchup. We got a lot of divisional games this weekend. Chiefs taking on the Raiders. Chiefs coming off a big loss. I think you can just totally fairly say -8.5 here. I like the Chiefs minus, to win this game by 10 points or more. So that's the pick I'll give there. I think Mahomes comes out fired up. They probably had a big week of practice working on catching the ball, running better routes, getting the offense going for Mahomes. So I'll go Chiefs -8.5. I think they win this game by 10 plus points. And I'll jump over to you, Jack. What do you got here as the Chiefs look to rebound?
Yeah, I see that the line is 8.5. I'm gonna put it down to 6.5, but I'm still gonna take the Chiefs here. I do expect them to maybe win this game handedly, but it is a divisional game. Backdoor covers are possible here.
Yep.
But I like what you said about the Chiefs going into practice this week, working on catching the football. I think that's going to be really big for them moving forward. If their receivers could catch the fucking football.
Right.
Yeah, they were a Marquez Valdez-Scantling should have been catch away from winning that game last week, and then even Justin Watson on that 4th and 25, he should have caught that. I don't know what kind of defense the Eagles were playing on that, but he should have caught that pass, and then that game should have been prolonged. I like what you both said about them coming off a loss and just wanting to beat the shit out of the Raiders here, but the Raiders have looked above average with Antonio Pierce at the helm. They won those 2 games, and then they lost by a touchdown to the Dolphins last week. And there's a lot of things I could say about the Dolphins and their fraud status. But I love the Raiders juice right now. I think Pierce has them playing hard. I know they're 5-6, so they're probably out of the range of making any kind of noise for the playoffs. But this is their last stand at home to, maybe try to pull something off. I'm going to take them plus 8.5 here.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess you got something with the coaching switch up has helped them move in a better direction. But I just think the Chiefs coming off the loss, they're going to be a little more motivated than team playing better under Antonio Pierce team. So that's what I'll go with for that one. But I want to jump into, another game that everybody has circled, AFC versus NFC. Buffalo Bills crazy fan base travels down to South Philly to take on the Philadelphia Eagles crazy fan base. And we're going to have tables being smashed in the parking lot, beers flying everywhere, people doing keg stands, shotgun and beers, at you name fireball, liquor, whatever shots. It's going to be out of control. Fireworks going off. It's going to be a party time in South Philadelphia come, I guess that game's at 4:00. Yeah, dude, Eagles all the way here. I think minus, they could win this game by a touchdown. We've seen the Bills. They are fraudulent, and the Eagles are electric at home. They play lights out at home. And like I always say in the pod and on the clips, Nick Sirianni, his teams just win football games. And that's the bottom line here. They're playing at home. They're playing hot. They're in the middle of this so-called gauntlet that they've are just steamrolling through. They win this game this weekend, and look, they got the first three done, and they can afford to lose a game here or there. But look, they don't look like they're going to because they've been red hot and clearly the hottest team in the NFL. And that Lions loss yesterday, I think pretty much almost wrapped up a number one seed. I know we still have to play the Niners. That game will be huge, especially with the Niners playing well. But, at the rate they're going right now, they're looking really strong. But that's what I got there. Give me the Eagles to cover these points. I think, we keep doing what other teams are doing against the Bills, and that's exposing them for the frauds they are. So that's my angle there. Jack, I will jump to you. What do you have here on this battle?
Yeah, the Bills finally turned it around and bounced back last week and looked like a competent team again. But no, the Eagles just went on the road, took care of the Chiefs, the AFC's best. So, if they're going out to Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs, they got the Bills coming to them at home. No reason they should lose this game at home. They're only getting 3 points at home. The standard home favorite. I'm locking that in so easy. I don't love the Birds. I don't love you, but I'm gonna lock in the -3 because I like money.
There you go. What do you got, Bry?
Yeah, so the last time the Birds were at home and they recovered, or they had a 3-point spread as a favorite, I took them on the money line against the Cowboys, and they helped me out. But I can't go against my anti-Birds parlay here. So
Can't wait.
I will give
Can't
you.
wait.
Here we go.
Give me a home where Josh Allen roams, where Stephon Diggs and James Cook play, where seldom is heard from any kind of bird, and the Bills are gonna win on Sunday. Josh Allen, 300 yards. Stephon Diggs, anytime touchdown. James Cook over 50 rushing yards, and the Bills money line.
That's what you got. That's your anti-Eagles parlay. So obviously, like you always like to do, let's get a recap of the picks that you just took in your little song there.
Yeah, so we got Josh Allen, 300 passing yards. Stephon Diggs to find the end zone, anytime touchdown. And James Cook, anytime touchdown. And then the Bills money line.
Boom. There you go. So I think Jack and I have a little bit more sense of reality and realism. You will continue to roll with some anti-Eagles parlays that I don't think one has hit this year. So that's what we got. Moving on to the two primetime games left on the slate in the week, Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. We'll jump into Sunday night first. Ravens 8-3 and +3 taking on the Chargers, who are 4-6. Pretty big over/under here. I'm probably staying away from that. The Ravens on the road +3 seem like the logical play here. But Lamar Jackson is also a guy, along with the Ravens, who struggle on the road. So I'm a little confused on this one. I think it's a weird line. You look at it, you're like, well, the Chargers are complete frauds. The Ravens should handle this easily. But traveling across the country and having to go play in LA, I think hurts the Ravens because, like I said, they don't play that well on the road. So I think it is a little bit of a weird line. I've seen so little out of the Chargers that I think even though the Ravens don't play well on the road, I'm still going to take them +3. I'll even buy the half 0.5 to get them plus 3.5. But I just can't trust the Chargers. I've seen too much out of them that it just hasn't been enough on offense. I do not trust Brandon Staley whatsoever. So I will lock in the Ravens plus 3.5. I'll take that extra hook just because I don't like pushes. Ravens plus 3.5. I think if you're getting them plus points, and I don't care about Mark Andrews being out. I know that's a piece there where some points could be playing, but yeah, Ravens plus 3.5. I think you can lock that in with confidence. But I'll jump to you, Jack. What are you seeing here on Sunday night?
Yeah, that's I'm with you. That's one of those lines that doesn't make sense to me. Usually when I see a line that doesn't make sense, I take the opposite. So that would be Chargers -3, but I'm not gonna do that. You're not gonna get me to bet on Brandon Staley and this Chargers team, who continue to lose games when they should absolutely win them. So my play here is actually going to be the over of 48.5. I know the Ravens don't have Mark Andrews. But I still think that with the way that these two offenses have been playing, we're going to see over 48.5 points, over 50 points. And I think one big thing to note as well is, no more Joey Bosa for this Chargers team. So I think Lamar is going to have a little bit more time to throw the ball downfield. Maybe a big day for his receivers like Zay Flowers or Devin Duvernay, maybe Rashard Bateman, Odell Beckham, maybe. But yeah, no Mark Andrews. So I think the over's hitting in this one regardless, though.
Yeah, good stuff there. I think you got some juice, but Brian, I know you always have some kind of crazy take for a game like this. So what do you got?
Yeah, no, you mentioned how the Ravens struggle on the road, which makes me want to take the Chargers on the opposite coast of the country. But the Chargers just struggle in general. So, there's been headlines about Brandon Staley being on the hot seat. This might be his game where he's playing for his job. And that also makes me want to lean Chargers. But at the same time, I just don't think the players like him that much.
No,
So
they don't.
do they just can it in here? They might. 48.5, as much as I love a dome over, I think that number's a little high. Lamar Jackson seemed banged up last week. Like you said, Joey Bosa out for the year, Mark Andrews out for the year. I'm going to take no. I'm going to take Gus Edwards, 60 rushing yards.
That's it. No Ravens plus 3 here.
No, this
It's a
this game
weird
might
one,
end in
man.
a. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna sprinkle this game to end in a tie.
Really, that's got to be like plus 10,000.
This game's gonna end in a tie. All signs, at least to me, are pointing to this game ending 24-24.
No
Dude,
game with Justin Tucker will end in a tie.
That's fair,
that is a fair point, Jack.
but it's still gonna end in a tie. Justin Tucker is gonna hit the crossbar on a 70-yard field goal to end this game.
Hey,
I'd
over
love to
here at
see it.
Sector 400, we hand out those any kind of locks, dude. Like I said, we dive into the board and hand you out where there's potential great value. I think to a little bit, Brian, I don't hate the overtime play there at all. I really don't. I think the line is so weird that it's like almost. I know it's probably not a thing, but it's an overtime line, dude. It's so weird. You're like, it is an overtime line. So I like it there, dude. I like the way you're thinking on that one. And I like that we're able to kind of digest and look at the board like that and hand out a pick like that. I love that. So good stuff there. Monday Night Football, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman on to wrap up kind of the whole Thanksgiving weekend and holiday before we push into the Christmas season. Yeah, Bears travel to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Bears have looked better, especially with Justin Fields coming back. So there's some potential juice there. Vikings lost a tough one out in Denver. Another week of practice for Josh Dobbs to really kind of keep getting involved in that offense. Pretty sure Justin Jefferson should be pretty much healed up and ready to just be at full speed come Sunday. But yeah, I think I kind of got to buy a hook and take Bears plus 3.5 here. I don't know if that's a weird line to take, but they've been looking good. They should have beat Detroit last week, so they're probably going to be a little pissed off about that. I'm going to go Bears plus 3.5. And maybe we start to see the Vikings start to fall off. I don't know if it was just a little phase of the Vikings looking good, or if it's actually going to be legitimate. I think this is a game where we find out. But like I said, the Bears have looked better now with Justin Fields back. I will buy a hook and take them plus 3.5 in this matchup. But Jack, over to you. How you reading this one?
Yeah, the Bears have definitely been looking a little bit better. That Justin Fields and DJ Moore connection just seems to work when they're
Yep.
both healthy and playing. So I like that. I would sprinkle a DJ Moore anytime touchdown for sure. That'll be one of my plays in this game. But I really like the Vikings defense, specifically their defensive coordinator and sort of the blitzes that he draws up. I think that it could cause a lot of pressure for Fields, but if Fields is able to escape, make the plays, go extend them downfield, I think that the Bears end up winning this one. So my play in this one is just going to be a DJ Moore anytime touchdown and also a Jordan Addison anytime touchdown.
I like it. I like the Addison play there. Bry, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's some spicy stuff from Jack. I like
Yep.
that a lot. We saw with Josh Dobbs, he got off to that hot start in the beginning of the year for the Cardinals, and then he kind of calmed down a little bit before he had those couple good games before he went to Minnesota. I think that's what we're going to see here. Hot start in Minnesota, and now the teams might be starting to figure him out a little bit in that offense. He is playing the Bears, though, and that defense is absolutely atrocious. Even though Montez Sweat did add them a little bit, but I think I'm going to take the over here at 43.5. I hated the 48.5 for Sunday Night Football. I think 43.5 is a little bit better. This could be a 24-20 game. So, yeah, I'm going to go that route. And then Justin Fields over on the rushing yards.
Love the Justin Fields play as well. Think you can get a lot of same game parlay juice in this game. I think there's stuff all over the board you can look at. So maybe look out for Monday. We might drop a little same game parlay for this game. So definitely check out the Twitter, the Instagram. Might whip something up for you guys. On a little value play there. I think there's a lot of stuff you can mix and match with that one. So definitely look out for that one come Monday. But speaking of Monday, that wraps up the week of the NFL season. Another round of analysis and picks for the weekend. We've been pretty hot. I know I was red hot last weekend, so look out for that this weekend. We're looking to stay hot, and you might catch us in a good roll right here. So I would say definitely lock in a bunch of picks this weekend that we're looking at. I think we got a shot to stay hot, but other than that, that's kind of it for me. Another hot episode. I think a lot of great games this weekend. A lot of games that are weird but could be good. We're talking about games potentially going to overtime and ending as a tie. I think there's a lot of good stuff on the week slate there. So that's all I got. I'll let you guys give any closing remarks. But let's go Eagles, and I hope everybody had a great holiday. I'm out.
Gosh, Giddy, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Me too.